Alrighty, it's your boy Butler, man. It's the best day of my life. Tomorrow is not promised. Go ahead and do your little dance while they still playing your song. So today we have, first of all, we want to say rest in peace to Brother Hunt. His name is Taylor Anthony Hunt. So before we go any further, I am on Tiffany's page. Georgia prisons exposed. Let me make sure. Yeah, Georgia prisons exposed. Uh, okay, so this is I'm gonna read his mother's post. She says, "My name is Heather Fountain, and I am the mother of Taylor Anthony Hunt. My son was killed while in Georgia Department of Corrections (DOC) custody. He was killed just days before the release of the damning DOJ report of the deplorable state of the GDOC, which they knew was coming. They claim he hung himself in the shower with a sheet. He hung himself in the shower with a sheet. As an ex-offender and an ex-inmate, I'm not gonna say that's impossible. It just doesn't sound likely. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. Okay, I'm sorry. His death was not only a wrongful death, but also a clear case of deliberate indifference and active cover-up in the violation of the civil rights under 42 U.S.C. 1983. Background: Taylor was incarcerated at Rogers State Prison in September 2024. He had been assaulted by multiple inmates just weeks before his death and repeatedly requested to be moved for his safety. DOC staff ignored these requests. On September 24th, 2024, Taylor was found dead. The official story, a suicide, is contradicted by autopsy photos, medical evidence, and witness accounts. How many times have I heard this? Evidence of cover-up and obstruction, autopsy, irregularities. I'm sorry, my second GED didn't kick in this morning. Let me sip my coffee. Um, the hyoid bone was surgically removed. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced that. Um, the hyoid bone was surgically removed and withheld, despite its critical importance in determining strangulation or hanging. To this day, it has not been returned, even after formal requests. Interesting. The second autopsy, conducted under DOC/GBI oversight, washed away visible blood and tissue samples instead of collecting them, erasing vital forensic evidence. Both autopsies omitted injuries, including stab wounds, restraint marks, and blunt force trauma, that are clearly visible in photographs. Tampering with evidence: Taylor's clothing, white belted trousers, and underwear, was disposed of in direct violation of GBI evidence inventory protocols. Injuries consistent with restraints on wrists, ankles, and legs were ignored in official reports. False and conflicting records. Initially, they claimed there were no suicide notes. He disposed of all of his belongings and verbally, and the incident, belongings and verbally, and the incident report they claimed there was no video. After public pressure, they suddenly produced suicide notes, not in his handwriting. What? Property that had been found safely tucked away in the deputy's warden office, and a video that had a disappearing timestamp. Lights during a power outage hurricane event would not zoom or rewind, and clearly had a lookout who later entered said bathroom with another inmate with a sheet. Ain't that a bitch? Incident reports omit the dorm location of Taylor's death. Report was redacted and was not even filled out until more than a week after his death. Coincidentally, the same day as my viral Facebook post about his death. The 911 call transcript misidentified his dorm and was inexplicably routed through Bullock County 911, a county outside of the prison's tower range. There are two counties between Bullock and Tatnall County. OPS investigations misrepresented themselves as special agents, but it is our belief they were actually GBI employees or working jointly with the GBI just to use the internal investigation exemption of the Open Records Act to deny us the investigation documents, raising serious credibility issues. Suppression of accountability. My multiple formal requests for the coroner's inquest were denied, despite clear statutory grounds. Multiple open records requests were denied under OCGA 42-5-36 with the DOC stating a subpoena was required but without representation. This has blocked access to essential investigative files. When told the case was closed, I submitted several open records requests to which they denied almost all of them. Then decided to reopen the case, which I guess will remain open until September 27th when the statute of limitation runs out. Damn. That's crazy. Okay. Witness testimony. Inmates confirmed Taylor was targeted for making a big stink about his dorm assignment and was assaulted by 5 men weeks before his death. Multiple witnesses have contacted me, all confirming Taylor was murdered and did not commit suicide. They also confirmed GBI involvement from the first day. That's crazy. And this isn't even a fourth of the evidence I have gathered through my own independent investigation. But without the documents, I cannot secure a lawyer, and I can't secure the documents without a subpoena, and I can't obtain a subpoena without an active lawsuit. Georgia has denying families justice and covering up their sins down to a well-planned, universally accepted procedure. Shameful and should be illegal. That's crazy. That's crazy, bro.
Going investigation and told us to ask again in 120.
The crack. I just don't want him to fall between the cracks. I refuse to let him do that.
On New at 6, a mother's push for answers. Right now, a Georgia woman is working to uncover details about the circumstances surrounding her son's death. Taylor Hunt died inside Rogers State Prison in Tattnall County back in September. Preliminary reports suggest Hunt died by suicide, but his mom still has questions. WJCL 22 News' Brooke Butler joins us now live in the studio. And Brooke, that mom tells you it's been difficult to get any information.
Yeah, Shannon, she says this isn't something any parent should ever have to go through. She says she's filed countless information requests, so we went ahead and filed our own.
I'm at Rogers State Prison.
The call you're hearing,
I have a white male, approximately 30 years old. We have a possible suicide.
Is from September 27th, 2024.
Offender is in medical right now. We are doing CPR and AED on him.
The GDC says it appears Taylor Hunt took his own life, but his mom is struggling to get more answers.
They're saying cause of death was hanging.
Yes, in the shower.
They have not released an official cause of death and report yet.
Heather Fountain says prior to her son's death, he had been requesting money from his grandmother via Cash App.
He was asking me to cash up to
Two people.
every 2-3 days.
Not long after that, the family says Hunt told them he had been attacked at the prison.
He said 5, I don't know, I forgot how many the prisoner jumped on him.
Yeah.
Fountain says her son had kids of his own, and she says he had big plans for when he was set to be released from prison in 2026.
His best friend came to see me last night, and he'd started a business for them to work, that they were going to run together when my son got out, and he was going to get the kids and they were going to live with me, and that business that they were going to have together was a welding business.
Fountain says she was not able to get a hold of her son's belongings until weeks after his death on October 23rd. Before then, she said she was in a back and forth with the Georgia Department of Corrections, so we tried to see what we could find out. We filed an open records request for the preliminary incident report. It did not reveal much, most of the report redacted because GDC said there is an open investigation. In the 911 call we obtained, you can hear the caller describe the circumstances around Hunt's death.
He was in the shower in G2 dormitory. There's a sheet hanging.
But Fountain says she still has questions about that.
Everybody I know that has been to prison or knows anything about prison told me that it is literally impossible for him to hang himself in the shower with a sheet.
Fountain says after she posted about the situation on social media, she had a number of mothers reach out to her saying they went through a similar struggle to get information regarding their child's death.
I don't want any more mothers to have to ask what happened to their child.
We also filed an open records request to the GBI in an effort to get the preliminary autopsy report. They declined our request, citing the ongoing investigation, and told us to ask again in 120 days. Fountain got that same response. Shannon?
All right, so listen. Today we're not just talking about an incident. We're talking about a life. Mm, 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 mm. We're talking about a son. We're talking about Taylor Hunt. And before we go any further, I want to just pause right here. Not for content, not for views, but for respect. To his mother, his family, his loved ones, I want to say this clearly. You are not alone. From our platform, from our audience, from the people who still believe in truth and humanity, we stand with you. And if there's anything, and I mean anything that we can do to support you, amplify your voice, or help you get answers, please reach out. Because this is bigger than one story. Well, let's talk about what we just saw. A young man loses his life inside Rogers State Prison. The official explanation leans one way, but the family is asking questions. And when families start asking questions, when information feels incomplete, when details don't line up, then that's when we, as a community, have a responsibility to do one thing: pay attention. Because here's the reality that many people don't want to say out loud. The Georgia Department of Corrections is under pressure. Overcrowding, understaffing, violence, mental health issues, lack of supervision. And when you mix all of that together, you don't get incidents, you get patterns. And let me be clear about something. This is not about attacking for the sake of attacking. This is about accountability and humanity coexisting. Because two things can be true at the same time. There are officers and staff trying to do their job the right way. And there are also systemic failures that are costing people their lives daily in the Georgia Department of Corrections. And this is where we have to stop and ask ourselves a real question. When someone is sentenced to prison, what exactly are they sentenced to? Punishment? Yes. Loss of freedom? Absolutely. But are they sentenced to neglect? Are they sentenced to violence? Are they sentenced to dying without answers? Because if that's the reality, then we're no longer talking about a justice system. We're talking about a system that has lost control of itself. Let's walk through the bigger picture. Facilities across Georgia are reporting staff shortages. Inmates are reporting unsafe living conditions. Families are reporting lack of communication. And time after time, we hear the same words: investigation ongoing, limited information, pending reports. But here's the problem: while reports are pending, families are grieving. While paperwork is being processed, lives are already lost. So the question becomes, what do we do now? Because I don't believe in just pointing out problems. I believe in building solutions. So here's what needs to happen. Transparency must be standard. Families should not have to fight for basic information. There should be clear timelines and clear communication and full reports released, not silence. Independent oversight, not internal investigations alone. There needs to be third party review boards that can look at these situations without bias. Staffing and training. You cannot run a safe facility when it is understaffed. And beyond numbers, staff need conflict resolution training, mental health awareness, de escalation skills, mental health support for inmates. We ignore this too often. A system without mental health supports is a system that creates breaking points. Technology and monitoring, cameras, accountability systems, documentation, because when everything is documented, the truth becomes harder to hide. And let me say this: these solutions are not impossible, they're not unrealistic. They just require something that doesn't always exist: priority. Now, I want to end this differently than most conversations. Like, this end, because it's easy to leave people with anger. It's easy to leave people with frustration, but I want to leave you with something stronger than both of those. Hope with direction. Hope looks like family speaking up, communities paying attention, platforms being used to bring awareness, people demanding better, not just emotionally, but intelligently. And most importantly, hope looks like us remembering this. Every single person inside those walls is still a mother human. No matter their charges, no matter their past, no matter their mistakes, they are still somebody's child, somebody's brother, somebody's father, somebody's loved one. So again, to Taylor Hunt's mother, we send our deepest condolences, we send our prayers, and we send our support. And we mean that. And to everyone watching this is not about one case. This is about a system. A system doesn't change from silence. They change from awareness, pressure, and solution. So let's not just watch. Let's not just react. Let's not just feel. Let's do something with what we now know. Because tomorrow is not promised, but it's what we do today that still is. We're out.